Hi folks, this is the next acquisition of skill screencast, and this week we're going to be discussing motor programs in relation to information processing. Alright, the general overview of motor programs, there's a good definition here. It refers to a generalized series or a pattern of movements stored in the long-term memory. So essentially any movement that you've ever done in your life with regards to any skill, or even things such as writing your name, using a pen, etc. It gets stored as a series or a pattern of movements in your long-term memory, so your brain can access it whenever and wherever you need to. And what the motor program is the actual plan of how to do that skill. So it's like a blueprint of how to perform that particular skill or pattern of movement. And so therefore your brain, for example, will hold a blueprint of how to do certain skills or activities, such as a rugby tackle, a tennis serve, or defending or shielding a netball. An executive motor program is the most important motor program, so it's hierarchical. So there's a ranking order, and essentially, as just mentioned, it's got the highest status, therefore is the most important. And usually what we call an EMP, executive motor program, is often a complex skill, something that takes a lot of smaller skills to build into it, or it's quite complicated, requires a lot of thought processing, and that's why that one is at the top. Motor programs are also what we call sequential. Now that means they run in a set order, and they need to run in that order in order for them to work. For example, you can't miss certain stages out of a particular skill, otherwise the skill itself, in terms of the motor program skill, will not work. And each section that is made up within the skill is called a subroutine, or essentially a part. And what I mean by this, I'll explain with an example of the tennis serve in a moment. So if we look at an EMP, an executive motor program, so something that would have high importance because it's quite complex. Tennis serve, for most individuals, is quite complex until you end up playing tennis on a regular basis and your brain begins to store these things a little bit more efficiently. Now, in order to learn a tennis serve, you need to break the complexity down into different subroutines or different parts in order for your brain to function and to be able to learn it first. And the way it does this, it breaks it into 5 main parts. The first part, your brain thinks about or stores the idea of throwing the ball up. Okay, so it stores that section on its own in its brain. It then stores the backswing of moving the racket backwards before the impact of the ball, stores that particular skill. The next element is obviously the forward swing, so it stores that motion within the brain, followed by contact of the ball, the moment where you strike the ball with the tennis racket, and then your follow through after the skill. Alright, so there are 5 subroutines here, so 5 parts that make up the EMP, the executive motor program, and when your brain accesses the EMP, it runs those 5 subroutines in order. And as I was saying before, if you miss a stage out, the tennis serve goes wrong or the skill isn't as effective. For example, if I miss out my backswing, there's no way I can start a forward swing because I don't have the momentum to do that. So eventually your tennis serve looks terrible because you've missed that subroutine out. It must go through those particular order of particular steps for that EMP to work. Okay, as per usual, go over the screencast, make note of what an EMP is, what subroutines are, how they work and how efficiently they produce skills, and we're going to apply these to different skills within the lesson.